That will be in 2 weeks' time. And we're going to really, really take time to delve into quite a number of things that you can do to maximize the festive period to your own advantage, health-wise, and because health is very, very important. Your heart is very, very important. So let us start. The festive season is a special, colorful, celebratory, and joyous season, often marked with holidays. And more often than not, people, apart from having national holidays, also plan their own holidays for that period. And you have, you know, a very lengthy time for quite a number of people. They take it as their vacation time, and they get involved in quite a number of things. It's usually a time of merriment, and it is activity filled. All right, so much going on, purchases, cooking, planning for this, planning for that. And some people even put in their special occasion around the festive period just to make it more colorful. All right, wedding and ceremonies, dedications, Thanksgiving, and so many other things come around this period just to make it more colorful, more, exciting. It's a season that brings people together to share joy, gifts, and memorable moments. All right. More often than not, people will come together. There can be, Christmas party, this party, reunion party, close party, estate party, and all of that. So many things just to bring people together to share in the joy, in the gift. To give gifts and then memorable moments. Gifts go around, around this time. People give a lot of gifts, and of course, they have to go buy the gifts before they can give it out. So there are a lot of activities that are, wired around this period. Okay. Peculiarities of the season. There are increased activities. We've talked about that. Increased excitement in the air. Everybody, is in a celebratory mood. Increased excitement. The Christmas is coming. Apart from that, the New Year is coming. So people are getting ready for the New Year, getting ready for this festive, period. It is a time filled with excitement and filled with activities. There's increased visitation. People visit themselves. Oh, I want to visit this person. Oh, will you be around? I'm coming with my family and all of that. Increased visitation here and there. Of course, there's increased feasting, eating, and drinking. All right. Now, festivity actually, is linked with feasting. So the festive period is almost, always a feasting period to an extent. All right. And people take, a lot of things, eat, take drinks and rest. Increased sedentary moments. People use it to relax, use it. They take holidays, you're not going to work. People will, tend to sleep more, tend to relax more, which is good. Relaxation is good. Tend to watch more. Screen time tends to increase. People tend to watch more things on the screen with TV or on the computer, their devices. So there is increased sedentary, moments. Okay, and of course there is increased exchange of gifts. The festive period is a period that is marked with a lot of increased activities, a lot of increased situations. Its own peculiarities, the festive period and cardiovascular challenges. And we've got to look at this. Okay, cardiac mortality is higher around Christmas and New Year's than any other time. Oh, can you see my slide? Sorry, just a minute. So it's a time of increased activity. It's a time of increased, things going on here and there, and we need to be aware of it. We need to be aware of it. Okay? Be that as it may, if there's something that we still need to take note of, it is a time in which so many become a bit, relaxed with the issues of their heart health. And we need to know that, and we need to take cognizance of that, that be we will not be we will not be lax with regards to our heart health. This is extremely important for us to know, that we will not, allow anything to make us to, reduce or lower our guard with regards to our heart health. This is extremely important for us. And this is something that we've got to know. This is something that we've got to look at. This is something that we've got to consider, so that we do not allow things that will affect us negatively to come into the situation for us. This is extremely important for us to know. Okay. Now, can you see my slides? If you can see my slide, please type yes. Can you see my slide? No. Okay. All right. Just a minute. All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. A moment, and it will pop up again. Okay. Can you see my slide now? Can you see my slide? Okay. All right. Thank you. So it's a season filled with a lot of activities, a lot of things going on. Unfortunately, It's a season in which a lot of people let down their guard. And because of that, there are a lot of challenges, during the festive period, which we need to consider. The festive period and cardiovascular challenges. Number one, there's increased cardiac mortality around Christmas and New Year than any other time. All right. This is as far back as 2004. All right. This study reported that more cardiac deaths occur in the US on December 25th than any other day of the year, followed by December 26th and January 1st. And if you are very familiar with these dates, you know that these are high peak period for celebration. While we're celebrating, we don't want tragedies. While we're celebrating, we don't want disasters. Almost the same thing goes on with regards to stroke and a number of other, cardiac abnormalities. So cardiac mortality is higher around Christmas, but heart attack, heart failure, and so many other cardiovascular deaths. All right, and we need to be very, very, aware of this so that we can mitigate it. We can live in such a way that can prevent this from happening. All right. Heart attack deaths are most common during holidays. Most people die of heart attacks between December 25th and January 1st than any other time of the year, according to the American Heart Association. All right. And this was, propped up again in 2022. So it's not something of the past. It is still happening. And we need to be very, very conscious of this and, be intentional about the things we do and, be very, very, um, you know, positively driven to choose heart to make heart healthy choices. All right. Christmas, national holidays, sports events, and time factors as triggers of acute myocardial infarction. In this particular study, this is a British Medical Journal study. There was 15% overall increase in heart attacks during the winter holiday. Of particular note, heart attacks increased by 37% on December 24th, peaking at 10 p.m. and more often in people over 75 and those with diabetes and previous cardiovascular disease. And this was, a study that took place for quite a while. We need to know these so that we can, while celebrating, please don't let down your guard with regards to your cardiovascular health. That's what we're talking about here. All right. And it's very, very important that we know this. All right. Heart attack deaths spike during the winter holiday. Heart attack death spikes during the winter holidays. The American Heart Association urges people to be aware and reduce risk for deadly holiday heart attacks. And in this particular warning as well, they talked about the fact that December 24th, 25th, 26th, usually on the 25th, it peaks. All right. And then by January 1st, thereabout, there's another peak. We need to be aware of this. And this should spur us on to, to be determined to guard our health, to be very, very, to be very, very conscious of our health, our cardiac health, our heart health, our mental health as well. Everything we've got to celebrate with that mindset, not with the mindset that, oh, death can come. No, with the mindset that, no, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to make sure that the things I do will not jeopardize my health, but will, on the contrary, increase and improve my, my health status, my cardiac health, and every other thing. This is extremely important for us to know. Okay. It is also Important that we know that stroke follows that event as well. Risk of stroke increases during festive season. Okay. Heart failure admissions and death increases during this period. Okay, the trend is not different in Nigeria. There's an upsurge of heart failure, heart attack, and stroke during this season. Okay, I mean, you all you need to do is to go to the emergencies. Go to let's do a random study. Go to the emergency. All right, visit general hospitals, visit tertiary centers, and you will find out that a lot of people are rushed in around, I mean, Christmas period, around this December 25th, either coming down with stroke, heart failure, or heart attack. All right. And I mean, we don't want that to continue. We want to stem that tide and rewrite that particular thing, especially at, amongst us. It's very, very important. So, what are the cardiovascular risk factors during the festive period? Because we need to know about it. If we know about it, then we'll be able to prevent it. There is increased intake of salty meals. All right, there's increase in the intake of salty meals. I mean, nobody wants to eat a food that is not, well garnished, very well. I mean, very much appealing to the taste bud. Nobody wants to take something that is not, that is not very, very, sweet. Okay, so there's increased intake of salty meals. And these, even though it satisfies our appetite, satisfies us, but then it is risky to our cardiovascular health. And we need to know that. I'm sure, that we can still remember some of the things we discussed about salt. And for those joining us for the first time, we're going to just do a bit of recap in one or two of the next slides. All right. There's increased intake of salty meals, and that can bring about increased blood pressure, increased, increased blood pressure, increased risk of heart attack, increased risk of, heart failure, and so many other things. There's increased intake of sugary and sweetened drinks. I mean, as people take the very, very, palatable meal, they also, indulge in increased intake of, the sodas, the Coke, the Fantas, the malt, and everything. We're not saying don't take, but we're saying that please be aware of this. And if you can take in moderation, that will be better. There's increased stress as well, increased financial pressures. I mean, the children are, this is Christmas period. They want new clothes, which is very, very good. All right. And things are really, really going up. All right. So there are the increased financial pressures. You want to meet this budget, you want to meet that, you want to meet this, increased expectation from, close family, friends, close associates, and things like that. And you want to give them gifts, you want to do this, you want to do that, which is not bad by itself, by themselves. Okay. But if it puts you under undue stress and pressure, please look for ways to avoid it, to deal with it so that it doesn't impact on you negatively. Of course, travel plans. You won't travel if you have not, make the plans for it. And these days, is even before now, traveling in, even on the increase, there is a lot of, you know there is a lot of increase in all of this, and we need to be aware. We need to be aware of it. So there is increased sugary intake, there's increased financial stress, there's increased social events, and that brings about a lot of, stress on the people as well, brings a lot of stress on one. So this is very, very important for us to know that there are increased, increased stressors for us increase stressors, and these stressors can actually cause a lot of issues for us, a lot of issues for people. And we need to be aware of this. If we're aware of it, we can deal with it and we can cut a new course for ourselves. And that is going to really, really help us a lot. That is going to really, really help us a lot. Can you see my slide? Can you see my slide? Oh, sorry. There's increased financial stress. I'll sort that out. Sorry about that. There was a bit of network glitch there, but it will come back. But not to waste our time, we'll just continue. In social event, this party, this one, this event here and there, like we talked about, increased social event. These are things so with increased stress, there's increase in blood pressure, increased heart rates, increased, strain on the heart. And that on its own brings about of, you know, a lot of all of these to bear with us. And that is not what we need at this time. I mean, it's a celebratory period. It is not a time for us to begin to deal with, stressors that are not good for our cardiovascular health. So we need to deal with it. I mean, the pressures you cannot handle, please give it out. I mean, please leave it and let things move in very organized way. And I'm sure that this will help us a lot. There's increase, apart from that, there's increased intake of saturated and trans, fats, like we talked about the other time. Increased intake of trans fats, increased intake of saturated fats. These are things that, are not too good for us And these are things we need to deal with so that we don't get involved, tweaked in it. Cholesterol, we know, can block the arteries, clog arteries for us. And once that is there, it's not going to be too good for our heart health. And that's why we need to deal with it. We need to make sure that we don't allow that in, within. It's very, very important. Now, with increased salt intake, with increased sugary and sweetened drinks, with increased saturated fat intake, the next thing that will naturally happen is increased weight gain. And of course, we know that obesity. Studies have shown that those that died of, those that died during festive period tend to have more increased in weight gain compared with those who survive, because the increased intake of some of these things that will not help us in any way. So increased weight gain, very, very important. We need to watch our weight. All right. And many a times when people go on holiday, go on, vacation, by the time they're back, they add about 3, 4, 5 kg weight. We need to watch our weight. We need to be sure that this does not, become a norm for us, so that we can live that life that will be free to a very large extent of these challenges. So increased weight gain. And with increased weight gain is increased risk for diabetes, increased risk for heart attack, increased risk for stroke, increased risk for uncontrolled hypertension, increased risk of the drugs you take not working. So we need to deal with that. And, we talked about the fact that, this is extremely important for us to know, so that this will not impact negatively on us. All right. Cardiovascular risk factors during festive period, there's increased intake of alcohol and toxic substances. Increased intake of alcohol and toxic substances. People tend to drink a little more, drink more this period, and some drink to stupor. And don't forget that the other time we talked about we talked about the holiday heart syndrome. So this is something that we need to deal with. That people will take things that may not help their heart health, may not help them in any way. We need to be sure that we don't indulge in them. All right? We don't indulge in them. Okay? Fine. So this was where we are. Increased intake of saturated and trans fats, increased weight gain. All right. And then, of course, if you are here for, I think this the second to the last edition, we talked about what salt can do to our system, the brain, the heart. It can cause enlargement of the heart. It can cause, inflammation. It can cause the blood vessels to become stiffened, and blood pressure will increase, and a lot of things will go on. There can be clogging of the blood vessels itself. All right. And of course, we talked of different kind of fat, the saturated fats and the trans fats. These are fats that are not good for us. All right. If you're going to take, of course, a lot of frying will go on this during this period. Use the healthy oils. All right, olive oil, canola oil, and all the rest, to prevent, heart attack, to prevent stroke, to prevent heart failure, and the rest. And we've got to go slowly on sugar. Why? Sugar can cause, is a risk factor for cardiovascular disease, is a risk factor for diabetes, is a risk factor for cancers. Of course, dental caries is there, and obesity. We talked of increased weight gain. One of the reasons why for which people gain weight is because of the amount of sodas they take during the festive period. Sometimes people take up to 2, 3, 4, 5 in a day. We have to, be very, very conscious. Do things in moderation. We have to put on our discipline garments so that we don't go overboard. All right. So increase intake of alcohol and toxic substances, increase poor adherence to medications. Unfortunately, this is the time in which people forget the most important thing, so to speak, with regards to their health. Some people will, get married so much that they will forget to take their drugs. Now you are taking more, Mr. A is taking more salty meals, taking more fat laden um, fat laden food, taking more sodas, taking more alcohol. All of this will increase blood pressure. All of this will increase, the chances of damages to the heart. Unfortunately, one of the most important things that they should not forget to take, they will forget. They won't take their drugs regularly. Oh, today is a good day. Let me just rest. See, every day I'll be taking drugs. Let me leave it. Before you know it, from this day to the next, and before you know it, poor drug adherence comes in. The blood pressure shoots up, and the person can just have, what we wouldn't really. So please, this period, while you're celebrating, which is very, 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 and very much encouraged, let's make sure that we still take our drugs, please. Take your drugs, all right. If you're on medications, please don't throw the medications away. Don't go on, drug holiday. While you take your holiday, don't give your drugs holiday. Take your drugs, please. And then there's increased sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise. This is the time in which people will sit by the screen. The screen time increases. People will, gist for long, and increase sedentary lifestyle. Apart from cooking and trying to go buy the things for cooking and all of these, little activities, studies have shown that during festive period, during this period, people do less of physical activities. People get involved in less of physical activities. They are indoors, they're watching movies, doing this, bonding with people, which is not bad on itself. But please don't forget to exercise, and don't forget to increase your physical activity. All right. And then some people postpone presentation dates. They're not feeling fine. They don't want to go to the hospital. Oh, I don't want to go. Tomorrow is 24th. No, I will wait. No, next week is Christmas. Instead of the person to go to the hospital and and be examined and be sorted out, that person will rather want to wait and say no after the festive period. No, after this. By the time the person presents in the hospital, is much more sick. All right. And then chances of surviving may even be worse. Okay, so postponing presentation date is also another major risk factor for, major risk factor for cardiovascular disease during this festive period. All of this, please, let's look at them one by one, and let's make sure we avoid them. And I'm sure that we will have a very, very memorable season. We don't want tragedies. We don't want mixed feelings during celebration. All right, let's stop here for today so that we will take questions. The next episode will look at how to maximize this period. You can use it for yourself. You can gain maximally during this period. All right, we're going to look at ways to do that. We're going to look at factors, things that we can put in place, and it won't cost you a arm and a leg. Just few things here and there, just tweak things here and there, okay? And some of these factors that we talked about, you can completely avoid them, or at least, keep them to the barest minimum. And you can so much enjoy your holiday, enjoy the season, which is what everybody wants. All right. And then we can, even be the healthier for it. So let's stop here for today. Thanks for listening. God bless you. So we're going to give room for questions and answers. Before we do, I would like the host to unmute Dr. Donye, so that uh, if there are things he wants to contribute, to this, you can do, and you can also unmute Dr. Uh, uh, if there's a practitioner in the house that wants to contribute to this, you can also raise your hand. But please, Dr. Bayo, you have the floor.
Good evening, sir, and good evening to the house. Everything has been well put together, but just to summarize what we've learned this evening is that we should not just forget our health while we enjoy ourselves during this time. And the bottom line is to be mindful of this lifestyle adjustment, which are very, very critical. Not taking too much drinks, as we've been told, trying to avoid excessive intake of unsaturated fat, and also avoid excessive salt intake, which is used to prepare most of the things we take. So the bottom line is just to do everything in moderation, and then to crown it off, for those of us on medication, it's absolutely important to make sure that we take our drugs wherever we go. Can always take our drugs. If you're traveling, make sure you take your drugs with you, and then maintain the usual routine. If it's in the morning, you take your drugs, continue to take your drugs. If it's in the evening, you take your drugs. Just keep with the routine, basically, and not to be carried away with the frenzy of the moment, basically. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Doye. I appreciate you. I don't know whether any medical practitioner or pharmacists or paramedics will want to add to this. You can raise up your electronic hand. I can see Dr. Egonu around. If you want to contribute, you can do that. You can just raise your electronic hand. Dr. Nike Oduwole, thank you for joining. You can take part in this. Pharmacist Lawal Folashade Lawal, CEO of Victory Drugs, thank you for joining us. I think raise up your electronic hand so that you can be identified and then given opportunity to contribute. Yeah, I'm sure that we have a whole lot of please host kindly help me unmute pharmacist Folashade Lawal. She's into community pharmacy and quite a lot of things, great things she's doing. All right. Okay, maybe we should take Adepo Jusera first. Please go ahead. You're already unmuted, so please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, all. My name is Adepo Jusera. I'm a deputy director of nursing from Lutz.
Okay.
Well done, Dr.
Welcome.
Yourself. I know you as a renowned cardiologist. This is my first time of joining this program. I got the invite from Nurse Sadiq. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm highly impressed. It's a nice program that you've done, especially that we are entering the season that we try to unwind and try to eat as much as we can. It's highly thoughtful, and I know that all of us that are listening, we are going to pass the message to others that we need to be careful of what we eat, in as much as it's a merriment time, it's yet our health first. So it's a very commendable exercise. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, all the contributors, please help me unmute pharmacist Lawal. You can unmute Dr. Nike Oduwole, Dr. Egonu. All right. And please, if you have any contribution to this or you have questions, this is the time to to raise your electronic hand so that you can be given the opportunity to do that.
Good evening, Dr. Olusegun and everyone. I just want to commend you on this very great move. It's very timely and worthy of emulation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
God
Thank
bless
you.
you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. God bless you. All right. Questions? Do we have questions in the chat box? I've not checked. I'm not sure there's any question in the chat box. Please, if you have questions, raise your electronic hand. I thought we were going to really have questions pouring in. I hope my presentation have not depressed us all. It's not meant to depress us. It's not meant to prevent us from enjoying ourselves. Just like a distinguished director from Luth, nursing director from Luth said, while we're trying to unwind, we do it with all sense of responsibility. That's what it's meant to do, not to dampen our morale. Yes, please go ahead, me, Dr. Nick Oduwole.
Okay. Good evening, the consultant, cardiologist.
Good evening.
Dr. I must really commend you for this. But personally, I believe that you should make this nationwide, or go international, so that more people will be given the opportunity to listen to this. You've done so well, and I must thank you so much, because I'm a consultant anesthesiologist. I retired from Lagos State, and I've gained a lot from this. And I believe that more awareness should be created next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So we try to publicize it as much as possible. There are people that join from the diaspora as well. We had people join us from the US, from Canada, from UK. I think this is one of our lowest attendance, and I'm really shocked. But I mean, like we said, there are increased activities, people doing, birthday, doing this, this program, that program, Thanksgiving, Christmas carol, and things like that. I guess those are the things that may be responsible for this low turnout. Like usually 70 something, 80 something. We've been more than 100 before. So I was expecting that will be more than 100 for this one. I mean, it is a festive period, and people have to choose, what to do with their time. But thank you very much, man. We really appreciate you. All right. Any other person? We have 3 more minutes officially to go. It's an hour with a cardiologist, and we want to keep it for one time. I don't know whether there's any question in the chat box. Okay, Dr. Danya, I think you can take over.
You said?
Yeah, I think you can take over. You can say a few things and then we'll round up. I'm not sure I can see any question in the chat box. But if there are, I think we can just attend to them.
I'm not sure if you have questions. Okay. Someone is requesting about booking an appointment. I think there's a number in the chat box to actually address your concern. And there's another question here. Doctor, do I need to be taking more food during this season? And then how helpful will this reduce heart-related issues? So taking food will be very helpful also during this time. And particularly for those that are not diabetic, for those that are diabetic, you need to be watchful the kind of foods to take. during this time. So food will be very helpful. Okay. Okay. Somebody asks, how many days of the week can I do exercise? So we just usually prescribe brisk walking, just to walk a bit fast. At least for about 5 days in a week will be enough. If you can do more than that, that will be all right. But at least 5 days in a week we do for that. Okay. I think there's no more question. And I want to presume the health talk today was very explicit and straightforward. And maybe that's why we're not having so many questions this evening. And at the bottom line of what we're just saying is that we should be mindful of what we do during this time, and then to also make sure we take our medication for those that are on medication, basically. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, for the person that is asking for booking that you want given, please call the number on that on the chat box, and just tell the front desk personnel that will answer you that we said they should please book you for this week, if that will be um agreeable with you, that's okay with you. Tell them that they should that we've requested that they should book you for this week so that we can sort you out. We don't want, I mean, things that can be dealt with, especially during this time, should be dealt with, and we don't want to take things for granted. So call the number immediately after this session, and let's and tell, specifically inform the front desk personnel that you know um you've been told to ask for a booking for this week, and you will be seen. Yeah, I think I'm seeing the hand of host. Kindly help me unmute Evangelist Oladipupo. I hope I got the name.
Oladipo.
Oladipo. Okay, sorry, sir.
Oladipo. The passionate are very, very.
Oladipo. Oh, sorry,
Yes.
sorry. Please go
No
ahead, sir.
problem. Yes, I put something in the chat. How can I see you?
Okay, I think there is a reply there.
Okay.
You can call the number on the number on the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a number there. You can just call that number as well to get a booking.
Okay. Can it be this week?
Yeah, it can be this week. Just call that number.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm done.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Amen, sir.